you need any help?
We're good.
We're good?
Yeah. Thank you. لأحدهما جنتان أعناب وحفظناهما من أعناب وحفظناهما من من أعناب وحفظناهما بنخل وجعلنا بينهما زرعا تلك الجنة آتت أكلها ولم تظلم ففجرنا خلالهما نهرا وكان له ثمر فقال لصاحبه وهو يحاوره أنا أكثر منك مالا وعزت منك مالا وأعز نفرا فدخل جنته وهو ظالم لنفسه قال ما تريد حبيبا تريد هذه أبدا وما أظن الساعة قائمة أظن الساعة قائمة ولئن رددت إلى ربي لأجدن خيرا منها منقلبا قال له صاحبه وهو يحاوره كفرت بالذي خلقك من تراب ثم من نطفة ثم سواك رجلا لكن الله ربي ولا أشرك بربي أحدا ولولا ولولا دخلت جنتك قلت ما شاء 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 ما شاء جنتك قلت جنتك قلت ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله إن ترني أنا أقل منك ترني ترني أنا أقل ترني أنا أقل منك مالا وولدا وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Yeah. And
Did you get something?
I'm not sure. It was, kind of dropped someone off.
Oh,
Hey, how are you? Good. Good. Here.
How's this stuff?
Really?
Yeah. Like
I do it, but there is a little.
Oh, you read a fully
No.
too?
Yeah, turn off like you.
Oh, yes, you just go. You just set it down.
Okay. And then you turn it on later.
Yeah, but just
Make sure.
Just in case, if I don't, you just hold this, hold it down.
Hold this.
Then you hold it down and turn it on.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you very much. So, Ali, you know,
Yes,
I'm fine. I'm from Asia. And kahit ako ba? Oh, okay. Prerequisites. How to get the guidance from it.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, inshallah.
Nakaya na po. Feedback.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Ngayon, bakit wag mo kayo? Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله لا إله إلا الله.
Yeah, yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah, and we praise Him and seek His help and forgiveness. وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ شُرُورِ أَنفُسِنَا, and we seek refuge in Allah from our soul's evils. وَمِنْ سَيِّئَاتِ أَعْمَالِنَا, and our wrongdoings. مَنْ يَهْدِهِ اللَّهُ فَلَا مُضِلَّ لَهُ, he whom Allah guides, no one can misguide. وَمَنْ يُضْلِلْ فَلَا هَادِيَ لَهُ, and he who is misguided can only be guided by Allah. وَأَشْهَدُ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ, and I bear witness that there is no God except Allah, وَحْدَهُ لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ, alone without any partner. وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his servant, abd, and messenger. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا, O you who have believed, اتقوا الله حق تقاته, keep your duty to Allah as it ought to be kept. ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون, and die not unless you are in a state of belief. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا, O you who have believed, اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا, keep your duty to Allah, and speak straight words. Keep your affairs straightforward, upright. يُصْلِحْ لَكُمْ أَعْمَالَكُمْ. He will put your deeds into a right state for you. وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ, and forgive you your sins. وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ, and whoever obeys Allah and His Messenger, فَقَدْ فَازَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. He indeed achieves a mighty success. Amma ba'd, as we follow. Today inshallah, we are going to discuss some prerequisites about how to get guidance from the Quran, about getting through the Quran, how do we approach the Quran, inshallah. When we say Muslims should seek guidance from the Quran, too often we just leave it at that. How are we supposed to figure out what it means to get guidance from the Quran? We just leave it to the individual. So when we hear a khutbah that we should seek guidance from the Quran, everyone is walking home with something different. So today, inshallah, we will try to understand what it actually means to try to seek guidance from the Quran. What emotional state and what attitudes we have to have so that we can actually benefit from the Quran. So there are certain few prerequisites, and we will go through them briefly, one by one. So one of the prerequisites is that our moral compass should be intact. We got to make sure that our moral compass is intact. If you really want to get guidance from the Quran, your moral compass should be intact. What does that mean, moral compass? In simple language, it means that Allah has gifted every human being a moral calculator inside them. Allah has given a mufti inside of everybody. Every human being by nature is a moral human being. Allah put the ruh inside every human being. That ruh from Allah has been given the basic knowledge of right and wrong, and even knowledge of Allah Himself. This is mentioned in Surah Al-A'raf, chapter 7, verse 172 in the Quran. This is true of every human being, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, whether born over here or wherever in the world they're born. All human beings are gifted with this basic sense of decency. The Islamic term of this is fitrah, or fitrat, as we are familiar with in Urdu. A very famous hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is narrated as, it's just a portion I'm translating. Every human being is born with the fitrah. What does that mean practically? Even when a person is an adult, and even if that person is not a Muslim, they will still have a sense of decency, so that if he or she sees somebody being beaten up, some injustice being done, they will think that's not right. Or these people stole money, that's not right. Or they should not be insulting their co-workers that way. That isn't right. Everyone, irrespective of religion or even training, has a sense of justice inside of them. It doesn't even come from upbringing. It's something that is innate, like fitrah. It's something that is in every human being. You will notice that everyone has a problem with injustice. Everybody has respect for the truth. Everybody dislikes lying, even if they might be indulged in making false statements here and there themselves. If you ask them, they will say it's not a good thing to lie. That is what it means, that the moral compass is still intact. Fitra is still alive in them. Can someone be a Muslim and their moral compass be not correct? It is possible. They may have lost consciousness of right and wrong. In fact, it is also possible that they have a lot of knowledge of religion, but they do not have any decency there. Allah talks about that in the Quran in several places, where He says basically on the outside a believer, on the inside something disgusting. So how do we know that our fitrah is still intact? There are certain qualities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highlights in the Quran that a human being should have, which all go back to the fitrah. We will mention a few today, inshallah. Gratitude, for example, is a quality that the person should have if their fitrah is intact. If someone does something nice to you, you are at the airport, you dropped your bag, and someone else handed it to you. At the very least, we are going to say thank you. Do you have to be a Muslim to do that? No. So the sense of gratitude comes from being decent. So gratitude is one of the fundamental qualities of the fitrah. Other ones are thinking, patience, kindness, humility. These are qualities that good people have. And these are the qualities that Allah highlights in the Quran. There are many places in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He loves those who are humble, those who are grateful, those who are patient. He wants you to become people that think. So the things that and qualities that Allah wants us to have are the qualities that Allah loves. And these are all qualities that are part of our fitrah. So if a person has a problem being grateful, it becomes very hard for that person to say thanks. It's very difficult for them to be humble. Humility has many levels, but the basic level is to be able to admit your mistake, admit you are wrong, or to admit you are not the best. So if your fitrah is not intact, you may have a difficult time getting guidance from the Quran. What that means is that you may get a lot of knowledge from the Quran, you may learn a lot of Quranic grammar, you might actually study several tafasir, but you will still not get guidance out of it because the fitrah is not there. That is something internal, and we really have to gauge ourselves where we are with that. The next prerequisite is to approach the Quran as a seeker and not a critic. As a seeker and not a critic. This is something really important. Most books that we read, we critique them. Any movies we watch, we critique it. The latest video game you guys play, you critique it. As a matter of fact, we even critique sportsmen, especially cricketers these days. So and so missed that catch, and so should have bowled at a better line and length. So we are prone to critique things that we experience. We criticize cars that we drive. We criticize neighborhoods, cities, and countries. When it comes to the Quran, if you want to get guidance out of it, you cannot approach it with that attitude. That I am going to read something and it's not going to make sense to me personally, and therefore I am in a position to criticize it. Even if I don't say anything and it is in my heart that this does not make sense to me, if we have that attitude, it means that my understanding of the Quran is superior to what the Quran is trying to say. Therefore, I'm not yet ready to get guidance from the Quran. Allow me to explain this. What is the first chapter in Surah Fatiha? The first verse, after we ask Allah for guidance in Fatiha, is what? Alif Lam Mim in Surah Fatiha. That's how it begins. What does that mean? So Allah gave us a book so we can get guidance, so we can improve our life, and we are ready to learn. And what's the first lesson? Alif Lam Mim. The first reaction is that this doesn't make sense. What kind of a lesson is this? This is called attitude adjustment. Before learning anything about this book, you will learn that you will not learn everything. Before learning anything about this book, you will learn that you will not learn everything. There are things in the Quran that we are not going to be able to process. Your tendency, my tendency to criticize the Quran can begin with Alif Lam Mim. I could just get hung up on that if I approach the Quran with that attitude, with a critical attitude. So right off the bat, Allah Ta'ala is putting us in the right framework. Allah knows and we don't know. Then he talks about after that he talks about guidance. He did not talk about guidance first. So one of the many benefits of Alif Lam Mim is that it is an attitude check, that we are not to come to the Quran as critics. Now, sometimes people present what the Quran says inaccurately. So, what you came to hear isn't actually the Quran. It's actually someone's perception of the Quran. Is it possible to criticize someone's perception of the Quran? Yes. Is it possible for one scholar to criticize another scholar's tafsir? Sure. In this case, we are not criticizing the word of Allah, but someone's understanding of the Quran. This also means that what I am trying to explain is not the word of Allah, but my attempt to explain the word of Allah. And if it is my attempt to explain the word of Allah, then my explanation is subject to criticism. It can be criticized to any degree. That kind of criticism is actually encouraged because that is the only way the understanding the word of Allah will grow, is when we ask questions about what we are learning. When we ask questions about what we are learning. So we will not be critical of the word of Allah, but we will be critical of trying to understand the word of Allah. Will any human being ever completely understand the word of Allah? No, because our mind is limited and the word of Allah, the Quran, is unlimited. The unlimited can never fit inside the limited. So whatever knowledge we or anyone else has of the Quran will always be limited, and Allah's word is perfect, and my mind, my ability to understand and grasp Allah's word is imperfect. There's always going to be room for improvement. Now, having talked about Quran and tafsir, there's a very important line to draw. Just stay with me for a few moments, please. But some people do not draw a line between what is Quran and what is tafsir. So if you don't agree with the tafsir, then you're almost a kafir, because it's like you are disagreeing with the Quran. That's what some people think. That is not the case. The entire Islamic history, in fact, is contradictory to this statement. Our entire history is one of open academics and transparency. There are thousands upon thousands of tafsir written about every verse in the Quran. Think about it. Why are there so many authors necessary if there's only one thing to be said in one way? Why are there so many authors? I'm going to repeat this question. Think about it. Why are there so many authors necessary if there's only one thing to be said about one verse? Throughout history, everyone trying to understand the Quran engaged their minds. If someone doesn't agree with some explanation, they go about researching it deeply and perhaps come up with a different understanding, different explanation. Tafsir itself is not sacred. Quran is sacred. So that line needs to always be maintained. That doesn't mean we don't respect tafsir. It only means that there is always room for criticism and room for improvement in tafsir. The next prerequisite, and this is a hard one, is letting go of our preconceived notions. Someone may have the idea, the notion of what is fair and what is unfair, what are the rights of men and what are the rights of women, how you are supposed to be with your parents, how you are supposed to be with your children. The Quran, and then the Quran comes along and presents some concepts that are not in line with such notions, that are completely different or somewhat different than what we've been practicing or what we think. If you really came to the Quran for guidance, then you should be ready to change your ideas and notions. If you really came to the Quran for guidance, then you should be ready to change your ideas and notions. To understand this, we need to only look at the difference of what the Quran says about the relation between husband and wife and how our society, especially back in our countries, deals with it. And then there are some preconceived Islamic notions, religious notions. Maybe we thought something is a really big part of Islam, and the Quran comes along and says, actually, that's not a big part of your religion at all. That's not a priority at all. So now, what was a big priority to me as part of my spiritual life is being reorganized. And Allah is telling me something else is a much bigger priority. That's hard because, we all get used to practice our religion in a certain way. But if we are not ready to change everything about our life, even our religious life, then we are not ready to get guidance from the Quran. We have to understand that my practice of my religion at this point in time is not perfect, it's a work in progress. So, of course, for every student of the Quran, especially for the youth, their religion is a work in progress. There has to be a willingness to change as we learn more from the Quran. If the word of Allah is not strong enough for us to change our lives, then we are not ready for guidance. If the word of Allah is not strong enough for us to change our lives, then we are not ready for guidance. Now, what does it mean to pursue guidance? You must have attended some event where they say very emotionally that we have to read the Quran, understand the Quran, and put every verse of the Quran in our life, and we have to put it into practice. Okay, I'm ready to put every verse of the Quran in action. Let's start. Alif Lam Mim. How do I put that into action? Or when Musa goes to Pharaoh and Pharaoh says that Musa is a magician. That's a verse. How do we put that into action? So we have to be clear that not every verse calls for action. And not every verse in the Quran calls for action. Some verses do, but not every verse. So what does it mean to seek guidance? Seeking guidance is not just seeking actions. This is an oversimplification of trying to understand the Quran. The most important thing for us to do when we start on the journey to understanding the Quran is to modify or change the way we think and perceive of the world around us. One of the great roads to guidance in the Quran is that the Quran describes reality in a way that is different than we thought. That is why it is called revelation. It reveals things that we have not thought of before. It reveals things that we have not thought of before. So before the Quran, the reality was something and it completely changed after reading the Quran. The Quran changes our perception and changes the way we think about the world around us. The simplest example is Surah Al-Kafir, which primarily talks about what is important in life. Understanding that chapter makes us think differently about earning money. Not that making money is bad, it just lends a different perspective to earning a livelihood. Guidance brings different kinds and different levels of goodness in people. Did all the Sahaba have the same level of goodness? Different Sahaba had different areas of excellence. Some were great in spending, some were great in fighting, some were great in learning, some were great in social life, some were great in writing or literature, or being some of them were more literary, etc. Allah describes this as Allah sends rain from the sky and different colors of beautiful plants come out of the ground. Same water, same dirt, different colors of plants. Same Quran, same human being, different kinds of transformation they have. So now when we see different kinds of plants and herbage, our minds go to the different kinds of efforts people make. Not all of us have to be the same to be worthy of the appreciation of Allah, by Allah. That is how the Quran changes the way we look at the world around us. That is why the Quran is talking about water, rivers, mountains, trees, birds, etc. Hazrat Umar, when he was Khalifa, he said one time that the Ummah, the Muslim Ummah, is an Ummah of diversity, not uniformity. Ummah of diversity, not uniformity. Not everyone is the same. They are all good, they have their own levels of goodness. The next prerequisite is modifying what is more important and least important, prioritizing things. Every single day we make decisions based on priorities. For example, in order to not be late for class or work, we may skip breakfast or put the leftover in the fridge for later. What can be put off and what can what should be the priority in our daily activities and what should be the priority at home? What can be put off and what can wait? What is something that we may be obsessed with and that has no value? And what is something that we give no attention to and but is most valuable or maybe most valuable? That's what the Quran is supposed to do. Change our priorities in life. Our entire lives are full of tests. Money, exams, relationships, family etiquette, isolation, addiction, in-laws, etc., etc. When people are going through a tough time, what do they need? They need comfort. They need solace. They need support. They need someone to talk to and give them consolation that it will be over and you will come out of it better. More than anything else, people want someone to give them hope. Show them that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Convince them that they can get through this. They are stronger than the trial that they are facing. Whatever trial they are facing, there is always some good in it. They need someone to say that in a loving and kind and comforting way. And when that comes from a higher authority, that comforting itself is authoritative. One of the roles of the Quran in the life of the believer is that I'm having trouble and I need someone to comfort me. And guess what is going to comfort you? The word of Allah is going to comfort you. When you open the Quran and read it. But we should read it with the intention and conviction that we are seeking comfort from Allah's word. Quran will not give us that feeling of comfort if we approach it as a critic, but as a seeker. It will become your companion. And when you recite the verse that gives you comfort, when you recite that verse in your salat, that salat will feel like you're having a dialogue with Allah. You can learn Quran, memorize the Quran, but you know when you really get the taste of the Quran, when you recite it in salat, it's like therapy. You can go to the therapist and then there's the Quran. Those are the most beautiful moments in the Quran when you read it in salat and that verse hits you like a bolt of lightning addressing the exact problem you're facing. That's a high you can't get anywhere. Not even with CBD. So what kind of people have easier time putting the Quran into practice? People who are working on changing the way they think, working on changing their priorities, and who keep coming to the Quran for advice with the intention of seeking advice. We have to develop a deep understanding that the Quran is there to make our lives easy and reduce our burdens. That is an attitude that has to be internalized. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Before I end, I just want to give some advice to the youth. Our time is pretty much done. So you guys are the future of not just community, but the Ummah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we also talked about it briefly a few minutes ago, about water. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, how he compares revelation with water, coming down of the Quran with water. So water comes down on the earth and the dead earth becomes alive. Right? So water has two characteristics. One, it brings dead things to life. So revelation has two characteristics, has that characteristic too. It comes from Hazrat Jibreel to Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and through him to us. So that should awaken us spiritually, bring us spiritually back to life. The other characteristic of water is that if water is stagnant, if water is not moving, it becomes stagnant and it becomes bad. And water keeps moving, it remains fresh. Right? So be like water, keep moving, stay dynamic. Your iman is something, the iman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says many times in the Quran that there are things that you see around that increases your iman. So that's why we have to keep reading the Quran with the same intention that we are going to read it so that inshallah may Allah increase our iman in the Quran. May Allah make us seekers when we read the Quran. May Allah make us the best among people, and may Allah help us learn and understand the Quran and give us life by it. May Allah soften our hearts towards our deen. May Allah give our children the sense and guidance to read the Quran, understand the Quran, and have a positive change in their lives. As we make dua, inshallah, please also make dua for the recovery of Brother Ijaz Kibriya, who is in ICU. May Allah give him complete recovery and patience to him and his family. And also, Sister Sharia Alam, daughter of Brother Fazlul Alam, she is undergoing treatment for cancer in San Diego. So please keep her in your duas. as we raise our hands for du'as after salat, inshallah. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم واستغفروه يغفر لكم واتقوه يجعل لكم من أمركم مخرجا فأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Please take straight lines. Make sure the front rows are filled up before starting another sub, inshallah. Make sure your cell phones are off or on vibrate so that nobody is disturbed. The next few minutes are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so let's try to concentrate, inshallah. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد فاتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون. هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. As we all make dua, please remember Brother Kibriya and Sister Adam in your duas. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them full recovery, ease their pain, give them patience, and give their family the patience that is required at this time.
अभी देखना है उसको यार इसको मैंने तो एक एक्सप्रेशन फाइल करनी है मेरे पास। अच्छा वो फ्रिज का क्या हुआ था? वो हो गया, कैंसिल हो गया था वो, फिर या तो नहीं होगा ये आपके लिए नहीं, ये मैं आपको मैसेज दे सकता हूं। ठीक है ओके क्योंकि मैं आई हैव टू रन बाय अप नाउ आई हैव 7 आई हैव 307 ये इसको लेना और एक बोल देना ये उठा के दे दो इसको नहीं इसको उठा के ना अब देना बोल दो बात हो गई यार जा रहे हो नहीं यार ये बोले ना ये लोग आपके साथ ड्रामे कर रहे हैं। चलो यार आप यहां भी जाओ खुश रहो और आप मुसीबत अभी तो ये बात ड्रामे कर रहा है हम जा नहीं रहे बेटा क्या आई अच्छा फिर इसका भी आपको करना पड़ेगा कौन सी के लिखा होगा ना,
डेट लिखा लिखा ये देखो ये मैं सारा ब्रेकडाउन करके
मैं डिपॉजिट कर दूंगा ना, अपलोड कर दूंगा
ठीक
तो हो जाए ना। मेरे पास एक एप्लीकेशन है मल्टीपल कॉपीज की ना एक ही फाइल बना लीजिए, ये तीनों चीजों में एक ही जगह स्कैन कर। तो ये देखेंगे मैं ना और ये कौन सी पेन है ना, ये
14 है 14 हो गया
और 1020 वो हो गया। ये बनाऊंगा ना, इसको मैं डॉक्यूमेंट अपलोड कीजिए, लेकिन आपको लिखने
ये लंच पर कुछ बच्चों ने कुछ मैंने काउंट किए तो ये 205 माइनस चलिए ठीक है फिर नेक्स्ट वीक इंशाल्लाह फिर मैं आपको दे दूंगा क्या मर्जी ले लें
कॉल करने में हमें बताइए कुछ नहीं कि स्नैक्स नहीं।
हाँ वो ये वो $300 में इसमें मैं कुछ लेडीज को रखी हुई थी वो पुरानी चीज ले लो आई डोंट नो मैं मुझे तो मुझे नहीं मिला क्योंकि वो
उनसे मैं बात करते हैं कि कोई अगर चाहिए तो बताएं।
जी जी
अस्सलाम वालेकुम वरहमतुल्लाह। कैसे आप
कैसे हैं?
आपकी जॉब चल रही है?
आज छुट्टी की है?
नहीं जल्दी हो गया था।
अच्छा परेशान लग रहे हैं माशाल्लाह माशाल्लाह।
जुम्मा है ना, कभी कभी मौका मिलता है।
नहीं बट नहीं दिस सूट्स यू। इंशाल्लाह शाम में मुलाकात होगी।
शाम में शायद हम लोग नहीं आ पाएंगे, शाम में अपॉइंटमेंट।
अच्छा ठीक है ये वो भी करना होता है ना, ये पार्ट ऑफ द लाइफ या हम
करने वाला है अभी दोनों तीन वो टाइम पे आते हैं।
या दैट्स रियली ओके एंजॉय करें। वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
ये नहीं ये सच्ची में ना
ये सब ठीक है।
जबरदस्त कहीं लग गया ऐसा लग रहा है
वालेकुम अस्सलाम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू।
नहीं भाई वो आपके अमरूद तो जैसे नहीं, ये भी एक अच्छा अमरूद है, हमने ट्राई किया है वाला।
ये हम मुझे दिए हमने।
अच्छा उसने दिए
या हमने मांगे दिए।
लेकिन वो आपके वाले में ऐसा बात नहीं है।
Oh no that's different.
Order. Almost done? Let me turn off this one here. Stop Azim.
All I have to do is make a copy of this check.